Hello, hello. It is me, it is summer, and I am going live soon here with my good friend Joe Polish, who is the founder of Genius Network, which is an incredible networking group. And I'm just waiting for him to join on here. We're telling your followers that you have started a live video. So I'm just gonna wait here for a minute as you guys come on. There he is. Hello, Joe. All right.
There he is.
What's up? How's it going, Summer?
Good. How are you?
Living the dream over here.
Nice.
Yes, I've been on a Zoom meeting for 2.5 hours, and boom, here we are.
Oh my gosh. I know. And we have a little bit of time with you because I know you're in demand all the time. You've got another live that you're doing. So I'm going to get out of you all that I can.
Good, good.
So thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited because, as you know, with the Draw Shop, we talk about clarifying your message all the time.
Yep.
How do we get people to fall in love with your brand and let them know that you can solve their biggest problems?
Right.
So tell us, what I want to do is first have you give, what it is that you do. And then what I really want to talk about, because I've been so inspired by what you have done this crazy year with your business and yourself personally, I want to talk about those challenges and the opportunities that have happened for you this year. But first, what's your pitch? What's your elevator pitch?
I help entrepreneurs. I help build better entrepreneurs in the areas of health, mental and physical, wealth, not just making money, but not losing it as much as possible. And then what we call ELF, which is easy, lucrative, and fun. So doing things and projects and hanging out with people that are easy, lucrative, and fun versus people that are having like a half business or half people, which is hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. So I spend half my time doing that, and this is going to sound totally crazy. And the other half of my time, I spend helping people that struggle with addictions. I spend a lot of time reading about addictions, putting out stuff related to addictions, having conversations about addiction recovery, because I myself was a drug addict early on in life, then behavior addict. Later in life, had a lot of trauma growing up, and so that manifested itself in addictive consumption and behaviors later in my adult life. So I've been in recovery for 20 plus years. And if there was one word to sum it up, it's about connection, connecting people with themselves, connecting people with capabilities and ideas in the very same way that me and you have connected in what we do with the Draw Shop. It's like, how do you communicate what it is you do in a way that connects people with different individuals. So that's why I love what you do, Summer, and why I've referred and utilized not only as a client of yours for many years, but also I've recommended so many people to the Draw Shop, because there's the ability to use words and visual imagery to educate, to communicate, to persuade, to sell, to enroll people. And so I'm doing the same thing, just trying to teach people how to better persuade, how to better package, how to better market themselves. And I do it for profit, and I have a foundation called Genius Recovery, which helps people that struggle with addiction. So that's sort of my spiel.
Well, you've been the biggest blessing in my life and the people that you have connected me with. I've learned so much from you in business, in marketing. I've become obsessed with marketing, probably because of you. But the big thing that you do, like you said, is you connect people, and then you also have this passion for helping people with addiction. And like you say, the opposite of addiction is connection. So it's so cool how those two things come together. So I have seen a lot of good things happen for people this year. I have also seen massive amounts of struggle, and I have seen it when it comes to addiction as well. What are some of the things that you've seen and experienced yourself?
Well, God, I mean, the stats change daily, but depression is up by 4 times, anxiety disorders by 3 times, depending on what studies and research. Alcohol purchases and consumption between 4 to 10 times increase, suicides, by the multiples. And so, if you just take in America COVID deaths, if you just take alcohol and opiate deaths related to so much of it addiction, and the byproduct of the fear and the pandemic and everything, it's triple or quadruple the amount of people that have died from COVID. And so what sort of pandemic are we really in? We're in an anxiety, a depression, a fear, a suicidal and addictive sort of situation. It's incredibly difficult, and there's a lot of people that are struggling. So more than ever, we need to obviously keep ourselves very connected, because when people are disconnected, for one, they go into pain, right? Because I believe all addiction, as an example, is an attempt to soothe pain. Like my good friend Gabor Mate says, the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. And so we have a lot of people that are treating the fruit, but not the root. And there is real pain in the world. There's real fear. There's real struggle. And, I've done a ton of therapy. I've gone to hundreds of 12-step groups over the years. I've spent not only a fortune on my acting out in addictive behavior, but I've spent as much on my own recovery and on learning things. And I'm in a fortunate situation because I, have built businesses would allowed me to make money and have allowed me to be able to do that. But a lot of people, they don't have access to that. And so one of the things that I learned, it's funny, I'm sitting in a room and I've got this woman behind me over here. That's Giselle, who's my project
Hi,
manager. And
Giselle.
so she's back there. And I tell this story about 5 years ago. I had just broken up with a girlfriend, and I was in a real grief state. And I was just, and my heart hurt and my head hurt, and I was having a lot of anxiety. And Giselle is an amazing yoga instructor. And so how we're working together now, that's a whole other story, which I could go into but it's funny. So I had hired her to do private sessions with me, and she made this comment that I had heard before, but she said it at the right time. And she said, if you do yoga 3 times a week, it'll change your body. If you do it every day, it'll change your life. And so I decided I'm just going to do yoga every day for a month and see what happens. And this was, it was funny. It was an interesting time in my life. And so I'm busier than heck. I'm traveling like crazy at the time, and my schedule's nuts because I'm running, a multi-million-dollar business, and I'm also trying to be the leader and the enthusiastic person for my clients. And in my own head, I'm depressed and I'm just sad and I'm feeling all fucked up, right? And so I did yoga for 31 days straight, mostly with Giselle. And if not with Giselle, it was at like classes, but not like 10 minutes, but like an hour to an hour and a half, yoga class. And after about 2 weeks, something shifted in me where I noticed that instead of reacting to life, I started responding to life more effectively. And I made those distinctions that when my life is working, I'm responding. When my life is not working, I'm reacting. And so right now, you see a global complexity. I mean, this is not just America. I mean, there's so many other countries that are so far worse, but bad is relative to where you're at in your life. You could be sitting in, you could have food, you could have shelter, you could have a family that loves you, and you could not want to exist. And there's other people that have very little, but they feel really connected and they feel that life has meaning. And so I really think a lot about what disconnects me and what causes me to react versus what connects me and causes me to respond. And there's many elements of that. If you spend so much time staring at a screen all day, you're going to be reactive. If you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be reactive. If you're eating tons of sugar and drinking a lot of booze and smoking and consuming chemicals, you're going to be reactive because your body reacts to what it is that the environment, the temperatures, the amount of sleep. And so fatigue will destroy you. Staring at the if you watch the news, mainstream media at least, which of course is the biggest crock of crap I've ever seen in my life. Yep. I've never seen more deception, propaganda, manipulation than mainstream media than it is right now. And it's, that's going to make anyone reactive because it's designed to do that. The news is not designed to inform, it's designed to startle. And it startles people and it scares people. And the only healthy fear from all the therapy that I've done and stuff that I can, point to is concern. The only healthy form of fear is concern. Every other form of fear, from worry to being scared to terror, is not healthy, and it will freak you out. And so, yeah, that's, what are you doing right now that's freaking you out, and how are you reacting versus how you're responding? So that's why, I really focus on as many meditation practices that a crazy sort of busy mind sort of person like myself can do. And, I'm not perfect, but I do a lot of things in the midst of an achievement focused sort of life. And I say all this, Summer, and this, I'm going out and taking 1 year as a sabbatical next year.
Yes.
Because I'm also going to disconnect myself from things that I want to disconnect myself from, and I'm going to think, and I'm going to ponder, and I'm going to immerse myself in deeper recovery work, deeper health related practices, music and art. And, because you can, it's real easy to get overwhelmed in today's, current environment.
Did you have any concern for all of us that you're leaving behind and how we're going to deal with you being gone? I just wanted to know if that crossed your mind.
Yeah. I think it'll be a test to see if the things that I recommend to my own clients, if they actually do it, if they I've had James Nestor. What's funny is Whitney Jones, who's 2 times Miss Olympia. She's the first mother to ever win the Olympia. And she's going to compete again in a couple of weeks, and I hope she wins. But she just joined Genius Network, and she's going to be part of the faculty related to teaching things on health. Because like in Genius Network, we don't just teach business and marketing. We also focus on mental and physical health. And so I'm hoping that, the many years that I've been doing this, because I've now been in business this year. I've been in business for 30 years. And so, my marketing company I've had for 26 years, and I've been running, groups, starting with mastermind groups back in 1998. So I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And I'm, hopefully I'll have a good footprint with my clients and my team. And I think we'll do it. I'll tell you though, when you have to change your life, and everyone talks about, change is good. People don't like to change. I mean, we're creatures of habit. People love to stay within their comfort zones. And when I say love, not like they consciously, you could be in a situation that's miserable, and you're conditioned to it. And so when I say love, I it's more semantics. I mean, it takes enormous amounts of persuasion to get people to do the things they want to do, let alone do the things they don't want to do, like go to the gym or go to bed early or quit watching Netflix or quit drinking or drugging or watching porn or gambling or gaming or, being obsessive about anything. And it's like, so that's it for me, it's an identity death. I was watching a YouTube video. I think it was like a TEDx talk, not a TED talk, but a TEDx talk. And there's a guy, and I've watched a million, obviously, videos. I thought about this the other day. I've actually interviewed over 900 people myself personally, over an hour long, in my, over 900 different individuals. And so I've consumed a lot of books, read over 1,000 books, watched tons of stuff over the years. And this guy, at the end of this breathing video, he said that he's talking about breathing, and he said, some doors, the only way you can open them is from the inside. And so when I go on the sabbatical, it's not where I need to travel, where I need to go, what I need to see. And who knows how you can even travel easily in, the current environment, right? With travel bans and lockdowns. But this is more of an inside journey. And the more I think about that, isn't that really what life is? I mean, I've done some amazing business deals. You have too. I've amazing friends and clients. And, the thing that I think makes me as a human feel the best is being in the middle of a really good yoga session, where you just feel connected. Because Giselle can attest to this. There's been many yoga sessions where I'm in the middle of it, just wanting to get through with it so I could jump into the next, phone call or something like that. But when you're really genuinely connected, that's that's what allows you to love life and feel appreciation and feel gratitude. And so, you know, it's going through those moments and doing it. And so, yeah, that's
those are the most amazing moments, are the moments that you are connected to somebody. It's not the over the top things the big extravagant things. It's those small little moments that you're just connected to somebody, and it could be doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's been the hardest thing for you this year? And then what's been the best opportunity?
You know, some of the hard things are friends that have died. Friends, I mean, you know, Tony Shea from Zappos, who I've known for, you know, I just put my interview out with him that I did back in 2009 when I was at the Zappo headquarters, the same year that he had, you know, sold Zappos to, you know, to Amazon for Amazon stock. And, you know, just the last time I saw Tony was at TED. He would rent a suite across from the Vancouver Center where they actually run the actual annual TED event, and he would rent out a suite every year. And the last time I went and talked to him, I was telling him about all the stuff I was doing with addiction recovery, and you know, he was genuinely interested in it and introduced me to several people there that he's like, talk to this person, talk to this person. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, that is extraordinarily sad, you know, with him passing away just, you know, a few days ago. And just a lot of the people that I know that are successful, that have really had, you know, suicidal, that have had struggling addictions. Those are the things that are most painful because I'm empathic. And so when I hear about other things, I mean, I wish I didn't have it bother me as much as it does at times. I, of course, put myself in these situations, right? I mean, if you sign up to start a recovery foundation and agree to take phone calls, and that's a weird thing because it's stuff that I can't really talk to anyone else about because the anonymous factor. I can talk about it, but I can't talk about the people. So it's one of those things, and just having to shift, like all the, you know, here I am running a company that does live events, and all of a sudden there's no live events anymore. And there's a lot of people they come in person and they want to connect with each other. So it's figuring out how to create that same level of connection and results without having to do that. Last year was actually a more difficult year for me than this year. Last year I had a condition called valley fever, and unless you live in Arizona, you wouldn't know what that is. So people in Arizona, New Mexico, and California is predominantly in the United States. It comes from soil. It's like something you can really affect the lungs. And I had severe valley fever last year, and I didn't even know it. I found out accidentally through a test that I had it in my system, thank God. And so I had to treat that. And then I had a breakup of a relationship. I had a big betrayal with a person that, you know, stole a lot of my IP that I had to deal with. I had my best friend, Sean Stevenson, die, and I was with him in the hospital when he died. And that was one of the most difficult years I've had in a decade at least. And then it bled right into this year. And so, you know, life throws out some definite challenges for all of us. And again, I mean, I can talk about all the crap I'm going through, but man, I mean, there are people that are enduring stuff that I can't even fathom right now. So, you know, I try to be as helpful as I can in those areas. That's why I do Genius Recovery. That's why we have the foundation. But I also want to keep myself in check that whenever I feel like my life sucks, go out and find someone whose life sucks worse than mine, because there's plenty to be found, and try to be helpful. And all of a sudden I feel better, you know, and again, I mean, I'm a, you've probably read the book, you know, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Was written years ago, a classic book. Everyone would be well served to read that book. And I remember probably like 22 years ago, I went through a Dale Carnegie training, and it was like a 12-week training on all the principles from that book. And one of the things was a session on never criticize, condemn, or complain. And I love to criticize, condemn, and complain. You know, I mean, I'm wired to like do that shit. So I try to do it in a sarcastic, humorous way, but I also get to like, what is it about me that is cynical? What is it about me that gets pissed off? And so I have a lot of observations of my own dysfunctional behaviors, and I try to turn those things into humor, because some things are just hard to unearth, especially if you grew up in an environment where every day you were criticized by your parents. And in my case, my mother died when I was 4. My father raised me. My father did the best job that a really broken guy who lost the love of his life, my mother, he never recovered. And he just had so much pain, physical, from injuries from the Army. I mean, didn't have accesses to the resources and personal development we have today. I mean, people can pop on Instagram and, read motivational quotes, or you can pop on Instagram and watch some, influencer that's, bragging about their car or their whatever bullshit, so,
Yep.
it's all what you decide to put your attention on. And if you can either create or you can complain. You can't do both. And so if I find myself, complaining for too long, there's a voice in my head that says, okay, this is wasted energy. I mean, have your fun with it here, but if you're at this all day, it's like, what the hell? I mean, you're kind of, you lay your bed, you make your bed, you lie in it, sort of thing. We are making our bed every moment of the day with
Absolutely.
where our focus and our attention and our energy goes. And if you're miserable, you are generating misery. If you are happy, you are generating happiness. And it's beyond just thoughts. It's biochemical. If someone has an imbalance biochemically, they're going to crave sugar, or they're going to crave, pain relief. And so we have to look at how and what we generate. What are we not only communicating to others, what are we communicating to ourselves? I mean, people think, oh, how do we market? How do we, promote ourselves? The number one sales job we have to do every day is the one we do to ourselves.
Totally. It's so true. And it goes back to what you were saying before, reacting versus responding, which all comes down to you and we all have that power. It's just that we are the ones that allow ourselves to get angry and talk negatively to ourselves and to react to something from a place of fear or, just fright, like I'm totally stifled. I don't know what to do. And so the easiest thing is to just get negative and ride that wave, instead of, what do you do actually in that moment to switch and realize that you're reacting? Like, was that a practice? Is there a tool? What do you do?
Oh God. I mean, well, in the past, I used to do everything from do drugs to go out and, well, I won't even go into it. If someone wants to hear like a lot of my crazy addiction behaviors,
Yeah.
They can, there's plenty of stuff online where I tell the whole story. What I do today is, for one, try to not get into those states. I mean, the best thing to do is not, like, here's the analogy that I've heard in meetings, recovery meetings, which is like, let's take addictive behavior. So what is addiction? Addiction is doing something you don't want to do, or that you do want to do, that you cannot stop, that has negative consequences. So a compulsive sort of thing. So there are some things where you have choice. With addiction, I believe you've lost the ability to choose. That's why it's an addiction. It's beyond, like, you can't intellectualize your way out of it. And as a matter of fact, the smarter and more intelligent someone is, the more I find it hard for them to find recovery, because they will think they can think their way out of it. So the analogy is, like, Mike Tyson recently was in a recent, fight that he just had. And back in the day, Mike Tyson in his prime, most people that stepped into the ring with Mike Tyson were going to get pummeled. And so with the element of choice, is, if you are an addict, as an example, if you step into the ring, the addict will step in the ring, they'll try to fight Mike Tyson, they'll get knocked out. If they get back up, they will try to fight again. And they're just going to get hurt over and over and pummeled, right? The real key is, don't get in the damn ring. And so if you are finding yourself stepping into whirlpools that are sucking you down, avoid them. The best way to avoid getting into trouble is to avoid it. Don't step in front of moving traffic recklessly. What I do, though, is it's similar to what you do to make a sale. It's persuasion, as our friend Robert Cialdini says. It's not the moment where you influence somebody. It's what you do before that moment that allows them to do it. Hence, like a draw shop video. If you have something to sell, or you want to communicate something to somebody, if they watch a draw shop video before they engage with you, you've now educated them in advance. Well, the same thing. How do I deal with moments that keep me, if I'm stressed out? For one, if I get sucked into the whirlpool, I look for my tools that of recovery. Make a phone call, ask for help. Silent battles are the hardest battles to fight. Reach out, exercise, breathe, meditate. Do those things to get me out of the reactive state into the responsive state. So food, if I find myself in a halt state, which is, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, I'm just not gonna do well. If I'm hungry, if I'm angry, if I'm lonely, I'm tired, either any one of those things alone makes it more possible for me to get in trouble or to react. But if all of them are happening at the same time, that's like a flashing SOS warning sign, help, help, help. So part of it is being aware of halt. And I'll tell you this, like, if you can sit with the anxiety that you're having and say, what the fuck got me here? How did I get here? And reverse engineer it. That's how you actually learn to cope with life. The treadmill of crap in life, running a business as an example, never goes away.
Right.
What does a business do? A business solves problems for a profit. There's always going to be problems. There would be no businesses in the world. There'd be no solutions if people weren't constantly having messes, if they weren't constantly having pain and angst and all that. And if you're going to be in the transformation business versus the transaction business, you're dealing with transforming other people's bad news into good news. It's transforming other people's problems into solutions. So there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be stresses in life. No one would grow if you didn't have crap happening in your life. If you think about your own life, and I'm saying everyone watching, think about the very best things that have happened to you in your life that you've transformed. It came out of a breakup, or someone died, or you were sick, or you lost your job, or you were fired, or you got rejected, or you were embarrassed, or things didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out, and it somehow forced you to have to figure out plan B. Like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until I punch him in the face. And so when you get punched in the face, you have to deal with it. If it doesn't kill you, and sometimes it does, then you have to figure it out. So when I'm getting, metaphorically speaking, punched in the face, I'm like, okay, how do I recover? And a lot of that just comes from becoming more capable. That's why you read. That's why you study. That's why you learn. But it's not reading or study or learning. It's what you study, read, and learn. Because the most expensive information in the world is bad information. And there's a lot of people that you can get a lot of really bad free information online, or you can pay for information and get really great information, or you can pay for really bad information. And there's a lot of great, so it's knowing how to filter who to listen to, what resonates with you. And the ultimate test of that is when you hear an idea or you hear a concept, don't just discount it because, oh yeah, I've tried that before. I've heard about that. That sounds good. I mean, the only way to really know is you got to test it in the real world. In the marketing world, it's called testing. In real life, it's called failure. And so, you're going to fail. You're going to have things that don't work, but you have less and less failures the more you learn success recipes. This is just like cooking. It's like you go into the kitchen, you do the reps, you try some things, you burn a few things, you screw some things up. Some taste good, some taste great. When it tastes good, what did I do? Repeat it. What's the recipe? I mean, and every day we wake up and we write a love story, a drama, a tragedy, a comedy. Right now, the rest of the day, I mean, whatever, all the shit anyone has to do, you're going to write the story. I mean, there's a lot of control that we have over the, fashioning our own future. And I don't leave stuff up for chance. People go, oh, it's destiny or whatever. Yeah, maybe. But, you can fashion your own destiny. You can create your own destiny. And for Draw Shop, here's what I want to say too. I want to do a plug for Draw Shop. Like those of you that are business owners and entrepreneurs, I say it all the time. If you've got something you want to communicate, I tell people, don't just go to Draw Shop and have them create, communications for you. Because you'll be able to use it with your clients, your prospects, your customers, your foundation, for money, for shits and giggles, whatever you want to do it for. What it does is what it does for your thinking. Because when you have to think about what's a a powerful communication that I want to make to the world. What do I need to say? And you don't quite know how to say it. That's where you get help from. That's what your company actually does. It allows you to get your thinking in order and then communicate it, because there's tons of content in the world. But, you know, I always say, people are like, content is king, content is king. Yeah, great content is important, but context is king. You know,
Yeah.
having the right context. Communication is important, but comprehension is important. You can communicate things to people and you're like, why are they not responding? Why are they not buying from me? Well, maybe because they're not comprehending it. So DrawShop helps you frame and package your communication so that people can comprehend it and make it more effective. Because at the end of the day, it just has to work. You know, it's not about efficiency, it's about effectiveness. You can be super efficient running in the wrong direction.
Totally. Well, I really appreciate that. And now I'm going to switch it and plug you, because you know, Genius Network, being a part of this group was life-changing in so many ways. And like you said, it's not just about business and marketing. It's also just everything that you just said. I know everybody's just like mind blown, which is how I always feel when I get to talk to you. But just that whole realizing that this is just, business is always going to have challenges. Things are always going to be hard, but accepting that and knowing things are fleeting, and there's an opportunity in all of it. Things could be really great. It's fleeting. Things could be really bad. It's fleeting. That's just having that acceptance allows you to respond instead of being in that reactive mode, because that reactive mode is like feeling like this is permanent. This pain is permanent, and it's not. And we always have a chance to turn that into something. And I probably learned that most because of you and the people that I've connected with in Genius Network, and hearing, because these people are they're sharing their real stories. It's not just all, hey, we're fancy entrepreneurs, we make a lot of money, we're cool, you're lucky to be in this group. It's like real shit that people are talking about, and real things that you're like, wow, it's okay to talk about that here, and you actually have a solution for me. It's been amazing. So everybody, I know you have to go. I know you have more lives that you're doing, but follow you right here at Joe Polish, and also Genius Network. And I so appreciate you, Joe. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Summer. Thank you. Now, I just want to do a shout out for Evan Carmichael, who's awesome, and people should follow him on YouTube because he's part of Genius Network. He's a stud, and I didn't see some of the comments that were here earlier. And if anyone likes reading, go get my book for free. You don't have to buy anything. joesfreebook.com.
Yes,
you can download it for free. And it's called Life Gives to the Giver, because my whole thing is life gives to the giver and takes from the taker. And that's why I love you so much, Summer, because you've always been a massive giver. And so I just like hanging out with people that are givers, because that's life gives to you when you give. So it was great being here.
So
I
true.
wish everyone a wonderful day, and then we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.